The Gospel reading from Mark. Glory to you, Lord. For those who want to save their life will lose it, and those who lose their life for my sake and for the sake of the gospel will save it. For what will it profit them to gain the whole world and forfeit their life? Indeed, what can they give in return for their life? The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Christ.
Good morning. My name is Maureen, and I took my second mission trip to Nashville. It was one of the best things for someone to do. We combined with St. Luke's Church from Wisconsin. Day one, we went to St. Paul's, and we were to clear the basement and wash the windows. We took all the tables and chairs to the attic, and we washed the boards and windows, and we had a lot of fun. And then we walked around the shed with a mural, and the pastor was in 2 of the wall paintings, and he had this story about Juice, I think that was her name, who went through foster care and was trying to live with someone who was in a one-bedroom apartment, and that was kind of interesting. Day 2, we went to Souls for Souls, and we pulled bags into a semi-truck, and we were learning about I just lost my place, 1 sec. We were learning about how they took all these bags of clothes and would transfer them to somewhere where they wouldn't have a lot of money to buy clothes, or wouldn't have enough money to buy basic needs, so they would try to help them make a profit out of it by making an entrepreneurship, and by selling clothes and shoes and jewelry, and then we went to the Nashville food pantry, and we were cutting green beans. Well, at least I was. Everyone else was cutting peppers and onions and garlic. Some people were preparing meat. Some people were putting things into the oven, but those were the adults that were also helping. But that was great. Then day 3, we went to Wright Middle School. We painted murals in the bathrooms. In the boys' bathrooms, we painted a panda. In the girls' bathroom, we painted flowers and hearts, and we had this giant heartbeat. I didn't work on the heartbeat because I'm not that good. And then day 4, we went to Mount Carmel, and we played with kids. That was my favorite part. I held one of the little kids that was a part of was a twin, and he was about 4 months old. He was adorable. And I look forward to my next mission trip and having to have a slightly different experience, and etc. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Eleni Izal. I've recently been on a mission trip. We stayed at First Lutheran Church in Nashville, Tennessee. The theme for the whole week was to cross the line. Each day there was a theme too. On Monday, the theme was cross the line to walk with. The first thing we did that day was the hunger simulation. For that, we were given fake identities. We had to get enough food for a week with the money we had from welfare. It was a very hard and very eye-opening on what people actually go through. After the hunger simulation, we went to St. Paul's Lutheran Church. We cleaned the downstairs so the floors could be waxed. Once we finished cleaning, we went outside to a mural. The mural was of the food pantry that the church opened. It was very beautiful and everyone looked happy in the painting. Pastor John told us about all the volunteers. We also got to go in the food pantry and he told us how it worked. I think I connected with the theme that day because I was walking with God when I was walking around the mural and listening to its story. Tuesday, the theme was cross the line to eat with. That day, we went to St. Luke's AME Church. There we met Ephraim. He was very nice. He told us we were going to put door knockers on people's doors. Before we left the church, we all prayed. Doing the door knockers was very tiring and hot. It was worth it though because we covered a lot of ground. After we finished the door knockers, we went back to the church. We cleaned pews, painted stairs, and cleaned the basement. Ephraim said that most of the people attending the church were elderly, so he wanted to spread the word to the community. He also wants to assure that future generations have a place to create and maintain a connection with the Lord. The theme on Wednesday was to cross the line to stand with. On that day, we went to Mount Carmel Church Summer Program. There, we played with the kids. The kids were very sweet, but they were in need of affection because they don't get that at home. One kid said they did not want to go home because they felt safer at Mount Carmel. The kids loved piggyback rides, but my back did not. After playing with the kids, we went in the back to talk to Dwayne. He was a helper there. He talked about ACEs, an adverse child experience, which means something bad happens as a child and that it could be triggered as an adult in a negative or a positive way. He talked a lot about how there is a very high crime rate in their area. The reason they started this summer camp is because they started having a lot of vigils, so they wanted to create a positive environment for kids. Thursday's theme was to cross the line to live with. That day, we went back to St. Paul's Lutheran Church. We made lunches for Inspiritus, an organization that provides assistance to people in different economical situations. Before we went to the park where we were serving lunches, we walked around Cheatham Housing. Pastor John took us to meet Edna. She was in the mural and helped a lot with the food pantry. We also got to meet some of his other friends. After we met all those great people, we went down to the park and served lunches. We got to meet a few people there and they were all very nice. I had a great experience at my first mission trip. I made a lot of great friends from the other church from Wisconsin. I also feel like my connection with God strengthened. Through this experience, I learned that not everyone is as lucky as me and I should be grateful of all that I have. I want to thank the congregation for helping make this possible. I would also like to thank the adult leaders for helping me understand why these problems exist and how we can fix them. In conclusion, this mission trip was very eye-opening and fun.
Good morning. My name is Kendall Henson. On Friday, July 19th, I returned from Nashville, Tennessee, where we were on a mission trip with the middle school and high school students of St. Luke's Church in Slinger, Wisconsin. Our theme this week was Cross the Line with Jesus. I think all of us have achieved this goal by connecting to the community through service. On Monday, we had our first day of service. My work crew went to a church called St. Paul's. Their pastor, Pastor John, explained to us about the history of the church and about the mural that was painted outside on another building. The church also had an active food pantry for people in need. The mural represented the work done by the food pantry. Even though I didn't get to see the food pantry in action, you could tell it had helped many people. The presence of the Holy Spirit was very apparent in both the church and the food pantry. Pastor John and the church also had a powerful impact and connection with the community even after its closing. We went to St. Luke's AAME Church on Tuesday. We helped to clean up the church, and we took a walk around the neighborhood to put door knockers on doors. The man who led us was Ephraim. As well as Pastor John, it was evident that Ephraim had a deep connection with his community. He wanted to spread the word of Jesus to everyone. He wanted to make sure future generations could learn about the Lord as well. One thing you could always count on that Ephraim was praying. He was a firm believer in praying and always talking to the Lord. On Wednesday, my work crew and I went to a church called Mount Carmel. In the summer, they have a daycare program for the kids in the community. There are very few adults to watch the excessive number of children. That day, we got to play with the children. Many of the kids do not get the supervision they require all the time at home. Many of them also came from underprivileged areas. When they go to the day camp, they feel as it's their escape place, a place where the kids can feel safe and have fun at the same time. At the end of the day, Dwayne, a co-leader of the camp, came and talked to us. He made it very clear that the crime rate was very high in the area. He also explained that Mount Carmel Day Camp was created so kids could stay out of trouble. Mount Carmel has been a positive outlet for many kids. On Thursday, we had our last day of service. We went to St. Paul's Church again. We made lunch for Inspiritus. Inspiritus is a group that provides training for people in all kinds of economic situations, mainly women and children. We went to Bicentennial Park and gave them the lunches we made. We also ate our lunch with them and got to connect to the Inspiritus members. We listened to their stories and told some of our own. We ended early that day to go to the lake. We had a special worship service on the lakeside, and we sang songs and our feet were washed. I think everyone was taking in the beauty of God's wonderful creation that evening. When I was sitting by the lake, I thought about all I had taken away from the week. I realized I was very fortunate to live the life I live. I also realized that much more work could be done to help other people, similar to the people I'd helped this week. This mission has done many things for me. I've made new friends, memories, gained knowledge, and started looking at things from a different perspective. I want to thank the congregation and the adult leaders that helped to make this experience possible. Now I know letting Jesus work through me leads to positive outcomes. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Kevin Kelly, and I was one of the adult leaders for the middle school mission trip to Nashville. The youth's daily schedule was packed with activity. The wake-up was around 7 for a 7:15 breakfast, followed by devotions, then off to their service time from 9 to 3. After that, they went to the Fisk University Rec Center for showers, then back to the church for a 5:30 dinner. Worship at 8:30, church check-in at 9:30, then they had free time until 11 o'clock, and it was lights out. So you can see it was a pretty busy day. Our youth were joined by the St. Luke's youth from Slinger, Wisconsin, which is just outside of Milwaukee. And we divided the two groups up into 4 groups. Each group experienced many different service locations to include St. Paul's Church, St. Luke's AME Church, Mount Carmel Mission, Nashville Rescue Mission, Souls for Souls, and the Nashville Food Pantry, as well as they were able to partake in a hunger simulation to help them see the struggle of providing food for a family with a limited income. During the evening check-ins, you could see the youth growing from experiences of the day, relating to the impact to what they witnessed. For myself, I saw the struggles these locations were experiencing trying to provide a service to their communities, from improving the facilities with limited funds to providing meals and services to those in need. My most impactful experience was my conversation with Dee, the director of the Mount Carmel Mission. Her facility attended to upwards of 200 children a day, providing breakfast and lunch for them all. Her staff was comprised mostly of volunteers, most of which were not as dedicated as she was. Many of the people had adverse childhood experiences that left them with never really knowing how to properly care for children. That being said, Mount Carmel was a lot of chaos with 200 kids running the show. Our help was greatly appreciated. Mount Carmel struggles financially. Government grants are nearly impossible, but they are able to continue operations since most of their income is from donation. They are stuck in a cycle of never being able to improve their situation, and Dee is trying to change all that. Overall, I was blessed to have joined the middle school youth on their mission trip. I saw them learn and grow from their experiences, and I also became more enlightened regarding the struggles of those less fortunate, trying to improve their situation. If I'm able to join them next year, I will do so in a heartbeat. I would also highly recommend to any adult to volunteer for an experience of a lifetime. Get out of your comfort zone, cross the line, and join the youth. They were great in doing God's work, and it was a wonderful experience. Thank you.
One more. Good morning. My name is Deborah Ezel, and I was one of the brave souls, aka chaperones, that went on this adventure. I mentally prepared for this trip for a year, ever since the day that I committed my children to the trip. You see, I've never been on a mission trip, but the stories that have been shared here over the years and the parents that I've talked to who have sent their kids on these trips all made me realize what an opportunity my kids had awaiting them. I chose to participate because I knew it would be a challenging experience for my kids, both in living accommodations and in the experiences they would have. And for me at least, I wanted to support them in their trials by walking alongside of them. They bought in because I did. Why am I sharing this with you? Well, it's because we need more people to buy into the mission of Christ, walking alongside of Him, crossing the line, going outside of our comfort zone, taking time off, pushing our kids even when they resist, because this is what is right and worthwhile. I told my husband, I'm a crier, sorry. So I'm going to breathe. That was what we painted, that mural. It said breathe, and I was like, that's perfect. Okay. As a parent, we want to teach our kids so many lessons about life. We want them to understand so badly that we tell them over and over, but we still worry every day. Did they hear us? Do they truly understand how important this is? Did they see that story in the news? See, kids, we told you. Please learn this. But how do kids really learn something? If you want them to learn something as simple as cleaning a bathroom, which some of our kids had to do, you don't just tell them how to do it. At least you don't if you actually want it to be clean. You show them how to do it. You teach that lesson by example. I knew that the people of Nashville and the community of Serve Boldly would provide the setting for me to teach my children by example, the life lessons I was so desperate for them to learn. The lessons, this is the cry part. I told them, I was like, I will practice this so much, so I won't do that. But anyway, the lessons that start and end with prayer, the lessons that put others' needs before our own, the lessons that stick with you, the lessons that are so hard to witness, the lessons you can share with others, but only the people who walked with you really know. They crossed the line with you, and they are the ones that truly understand how impactful it was. Each day, we came together to share what we witnessed. We saw the effects of drugs, violence, poverty, and homelessness. We witnessed the children who suffer as a result, and we wanted to fix it all for them. We were impassioned to do more for them and frustrated that we couldn't, because one day, 1 week is not enough. I'll share one story with you, a simple one really, but monumental at the same time. It's a moment we have all encountered, but perhaps haven't thought deeply about, haven't sat around and talked about, haven't realized that in that simple encounter is a life lesson. It was Monday night, and our evening activity after a day of hard work was a walk down Broadway to go eat and shop. If you've never been to Broadway in Nashville, then imagine sidewalks covered with tourists and beggars every 20 feet or so, holding pieces of cardboard scribbled with various statements like "Hungry, please help." One gentleman had a sign that read, "Homeless vet." One of the chaperones witnessed the man, a tourist, ask the gentleman to show his ID to prove that he was a veteran, at which point the gentleman presented him with the proper identification. This resulted in the man giving the gentleman money, a simple story and a monumental lesson. Many times we give, we donate, we volunteer, but who are we serving? The man in our story believes that he did a good deed, that he was giving to others. He can walk away and say, "I gave to a homeless vet." In reality, his heart was not in the right place. He needed a label that made a child of God worthy enough to be helped. Who was he really serving? Whose need was he really filling? The gentleman's or his own need? In that moment, a life lesson was learned. What's our agenda when we give, donate, and volunteer? Are we focused on what a difference we made for others? Maybe we should focus more on what a difference they made for us. A humbling lesson for us all.